Blame me. I'm big enough and man enough to admit that I didn't play up to the standard that this team deserves.
After a tough loss on the road at Clemson and a week off,
just got to go back to work. You got to, own where we're at.
The Irish are back home and hungry.
Let's go out with a bang, man. Like, this is your last one. Like, you can't get this back.
Notre Dame honoring 31 players for Senior Day.
It's emotional. It's going to be a sad time leaving, but it'll be fun as well.
Including quarterback Sam Hartman.
Let him go out there and play fast and honor these seniors together.
Who will play his final game at Notre Dame Stadium against his former team.
I think the world of Sam. Quite honestly, it's hard for me to watch Notre Dame football because that's the Wake Forest quarterback playing for them.
It's the Fighting Irish versus the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. This is ABC57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, live from the campus of Notre Dame, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
It is a beautiful day here on campus. It's hard to believe the college football season is nearly over, but here we are, the final home game of 2023. The Irish not only celebrating their seniors, but today is also the 500th game at Notre Dame Stadium. Welcome to ABC 57 Kickoff, live from Purcell Pavilion on the campus of Notre Dame. I'm Allison Hayes.
I'm Vahid Sadrazadeh. Welcome to Senior Day. Not a cloud in the sky. It is a gorgeous backdrop for the final home game of the regular season.
A little frosty out, though. A little chilly. A little frost
Get
out there
the hand warmers and let's go. The Irish, of course, looking to bounce back after a disappointing loss at Clemson, 31-23. Notre Dame struggling in all three phases of that game. Quarterback Sam Hartman taking the blame for that performance and his performance, saying it was unacceptable. Hartman went 13 for 30, only 146 passing yards, 68 yards on the ground. No throwing touchdowns and 2 interceptions, including a backbreaker pick 6.
Ooh, yeah. But Notre Dame has never lost to Wake Forest. The last time these two teams played was in 2018 when Hartman was just a freshman. He actually got hurt in that game. Now, without Hartman this season, the Demon Deacons have struggled. They are 4-6 overall and have dropped their last 3 games, including a 26-6 loss to North Carolina State last week. So, of course, the big question, how will Hartman do against his former team? He spent 5 years at Wake Forest and has been crucial to the Irish game plan this week, helping both the offense and defense.
And for more on that, let's bring in our Levon Whitaker, who's live outside Notre Dame Stadium. Hey, Levon.
Yeah, Allison, Vahid. Well, listen, guys. It's not that often that when you enter the transfer portal, you decide to join a new team, and then you get a chance to play against your former team. That's almost unheard of, but that's exactly the case when it comes to Sam Hartman. And head coach Marcus Freeman told us earlier in the week during his press conferences that they've been using that to their advantage. That means leaning on Sam Hartman to lend them a hand in the scouting report against his former team.
Spent a little bit of time with him last week of, trying to look at different ways to coach the scout team and try to, reciprocate a look that we think we'll see from Wake Forest in terms of their offense.
Nobody knows the Deacon Demons offense better than quarterback Sam Hartman. In fact, it was something he struggled with back in the spring, learning the pro-style offense at Notre Dame, requiring him to take snaps under center.
I really never did it. The only time we ever did it was victory formation. So, those are pretty low-stake center quarterback exchanges. It's just definitely a learning curve for me.
On the flip side, the 7th-ranked Irish defense are preparing for what's known as the slow mesh offense, or some folks may call it the RPO.
How do you defend it? Backers are used to attacking when you get this slow mesh. You get a run action, but you can't. They're going to read you in a minute. You just attack downhill. There's open areas behind you, and so you almost got to untrain your backers to be so aggressive downhill.
A hard concept to understand, but the Wake Forest offense has the respect of Al Golden and the Irish defense, responsible for 8 interceptions in the past 3 games.
It's a challenge, right? It's unique. On offense, what they do, it requires a lot of work. We've been putting a lot of time into it.
And it only makes sense that Hartman is assisting in the game plan as little or as much as possible.
He sat down and watched a couple of games with me, which obviously helps, and they are going to have some wrinkles here and there, knowing that Sam played, but
at the end of the day, I think it's nice to be able to have a quarterback that's been in the system and just be able to have a deeper understanding of the system.
A unique scenario for the 24-year-old field general, but still part of the game to have as much knowledge as possible on your opponent.
We certainly want to gain the knowledge we need that kind of helps us. Otherwise, we want to let Sam feel like he's right here, comfortable in the game plan like he would week by week, and try to make this thing as normal as we can for him, because we understand it's not normal.
Well, it's certainly not normal. I don't think anybody doubts that from head coach Jared Parker or Sam Hartman. But listen, we've been covering Sam since the springtime, and it's clear the guy who wants to be a winner. There's no doubt about that. And head coach Marcus Freeman told us throughout this season that he wants to help these guys win in any way possible. He's willing to do anything to help them get there, and that includes getting the offense together, but the defense as well. So listen, I believe that Sam is going to save the hugs and the memories for after the game against his former team.
Well, let's hope so. Levon, we were talking about this before the show started. Where do you think he is today against former opponents in the ACC? Obviously, he's not played well, not fared well this season against those teams, Louisville, Clemson, so on and so forth. And this is another familiar team, obviously.
Yeah, familiar in a different way. I mean, we look at Louisville, he threw 3 interceptions against the Cardinals last year when he was with Wake Forest, and then he did it again with Notre Dame this year. You go back to the Clemson game. He was 0-5 against Clemson from his time at Wake Forest. Now he's 0-6 after that horrific loss against Clemson on the road in Death Valley. So it'll be interesting to see how Sam Hartman can play against his former team. He was in a green jersey because he couldn't be touched as the quarterback when he was there in practice. So it'll be, I'm sure, all eyes and all hands hope to be on Sam Hartman in this matchup.
Yeah, that defense is going to be
chomping at
the bit. Thanks, Levon.
All right, well, we are just getting started here on ABC 57 Kickoff. Up next, we ask the experts. Greg Flammang with Irish Sports Daily joins us live to break down today's matchup.
But first, here's a sneak peek at what's coming out throughout the show here on ABC 57 Kickoff.
The greatest fight song of all time.
We have the mathematical, incontrovertible proof about that.
As the Irish get ready to celebrate 500 games in the house that Rockne built, the Notre Dame Marching Band settles the score. A tradition full of love.
It's just a connection that we have. It's a bond, and I feel his spirit, he feels mine.
The special pregame ritual Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love and his dad share before every game.
Really just pumps me up before the game and gets me locked in and ready to play.
He scored a field goal in the final seconds to beat the reigning Super Bowl champs. Former Notre Dame kicker and NFL rookie Blake Grupe joins us live on set. And Viking Strong, a local mom, defies the odds.
Her eyes lit up and she was just like shook, like, wow, like, it's my dream to be.
Just in time to see her son make history on the football field.
Just super excited, it's a real moment.
Plus, the heartfelt message the family received from former Notre Dame quarterback Ian Book.
Another shutout on Senior Day. The Irish are taking on Wake Forest this afternoon. Check out the sights and sounds here on campus in the tailgate area. Now, this is the final home game of the season. Notre Dame has had 11 shutouts since 1996. 5 of those have happened on Senior Day, including the last 2 seasons. Well, it is time now to ask the experts. We are joined now by Greg Flammang, football video analyst for Irish Sports Daily. Also a first-timer here on ABC 57 Kickoff. We love it. Welcome, Greg.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Very excited.
Now, Notre Dame's offense has struggled against top 40 defenses this season, sparking a lot of fan chatter on social media, of course, questioning both the play calling of offensive coordinator Jared Parker and the performance of quarterback Sam Hartman. After that Clemson game, you shared several videos where you really break down the plays and you show what went wrong for the offense and kind of, not to say point blame, but who was at fault on certain plays, and everyone kind of automatically says, it's all Jared Parker's play calling, or Sam Hartman's missing all these throws, and you kind of really break it down of what happened.
Yeah, so the clip that you guys are showing now is a good example of Jared Parker making a good play call, going against tendency, throwing play action on a run-heavy set. So they're normally running out of that formation. Gets Sam Hartman to roll out. What we'd like to see on this play is Holden Stays break a tackle against the safety for Clemson there, who's a backup. And if he had done so, this could have been a very explosive play here. But it's a great job of Parker influencing the defense against man coverage. That was a hot topic this week. Jared Parker talking about not being able to throw play action on man coverage. I think he might have been talking about the outside receivers there. But it's an example of you can still influence the defense. Notre Dame was able to get the safety to bite on that play, and he was able to roll him out, get him influenced, and get Holden Stays open in the flat for a first down.
Boy, you certainly have a pulse on the message boards, Greg. And you hear from all those keyboard warriors, not only about Parker and the play calling, but about, Audric Estime, for example, 3 carries for 5 yards in the second half of that game. What are you hearing, and do you think that Jared Parker is back next year as OC of this team?
Loaded question there. So the first one is, I think the most defensible thing that happened last week or 2 weeks ago against Clemson was Audric Estime only getting the 3 carries. With the game flow and the way that it went, they had the 1-yard touchdown early after the Xavier Watts pick 6, and then they had the 2-play drive that went for another touchdown. After that, they started 2 drives with Audric Estime runs that weren't successful. So I think they tried to change it up. They had run the ball 18 times on first down in that game, and I think he wanted to change it up that way. And then the game kind of got out of hand there. They were backed up, try to move the ball. He noted in his press conference, they were going 3 and out very often, so that was very difficult for them. I think for him, not being a heavy play action team, when you are a run-heavy team and you want to go multiple tight ends a lot, when you're not mixing up play action in that case, you're alerting the defense to, hey, when we're spread, we're going to throw the ball. And when we're heavy, we're going to run the ball. You got to be able to mix it up there.
It's predictable.
Yeah, very predictable. He doesn't go against tendency enough like we saw early in that game. Whether he's back, that's not for me to say. What I would say for Marcus Freeman is he has to decide, is the person that he can get an obvious upgrade over Jared Parker, given some of the losses that might happen. Will Joe Rudolph come back? Because if he doesn't come back, that would be 4 O-line coaches in the last 4 years with Quinn, Heaston, Rudolph, and a new coach. So there's, obviously the OC search didn't go that great last year. So he has to determine who he can get. Is he an obvious upgrade over some of the losses that they might incur on offense?
Talking about play action, just 2 play action passes called in the entire game. That was interesting, to say the least. Well, Hartman, he took the blame for his performance at Clemson, but there were certainly a lot of factors at play, including a depleted offensive line. And not to pick on Sam, but what do you feel like has been that disconnect for him, especially in the second half of the season?
He's had to deal with a lot of injuries. The loss of Jaden Thomas after the Ohio State game was very difficult for them. It made Tobias Merriweather move into the boundary. That didn't work out. Then they've had to move Jaden Greathouse into the boundary. Jaden Greathouse was 12 of 15 on targets when he was in the slot. Moves out to the boundary. He's 0 for 4. He hasn't caught a pass since moving outside of the slot. So that's been very difficult for him. Not having Caleb Smith, who was supposed to be the transfer, he left the team. He was supposed to be their boundary receiver. Deion Colsey, another boundary, big target. He was gone. So I think that's really hurt them. Lots of underclassmen at wide receiver this year. And Chris Tyree, who's the upperclassman, he's in his first season. So he's had to work through that. He's had to work through a new offensive coordinator. Jared Parker is trying to, he's trying to overcome all those things as well with a new quarterback. So there's a lot of things that have gone wrong for them this year that just weren't foreseen when he joined the team in January.
Still a lot of questions to be answered in the offseason, so it's going to be interesting. Big shout-out to you and Dara Mabry. Just started a new podcast called Dimes with Dara. It's an awesome show. Quickly touch on the season coming up for the women's basketball team. Obviously some success so far, but a big injury to Sonia Citron.
Yeah, that's very difficult. Hopefully the ladies are playing today. Hopefully Neil Ivey speaks on that. I'm very interested to hear what the update is there, because that's a huge injury for them. But being able to talk the women's basketball with Dara is just a huge thing. I reached out to her, just kind of took a shot. I knew she was around. I knew she'd done some work with you guys, so I was like, well, she's in media. Let's see if we can get her on a podcast. She's been awesome, just really able to break down, give really good insight into the team. She was on the team last year. So it's just very fun to talk about the ladies, and we're very excited. Hannah Hidalgo looks incredible.
Yeah.
Miel Ivy, I had her on a podcast. She said she compared her to Skylar Diggins, and she's living up to that. So it's been very fun to watch so far.
Well, we are big fans of Dara and you, of course, so we are thankful to have you on and appreciate it, and we'll we'll catch up with you during basketball season, because we're doing some tip-off shows again this year, FYI. Now, we still have much more to come on ABC 57 Kickoff, including a check on your game day forecast. You're going to need to bundle up a little bit if you are heading to campus. Stay with us.
A crisp fall day here on the campus of Notre Dame. You see the fall colors kind of expanding, maybe the last weekend for those nice fall colors here. But it is senior day in the 500th all-time game at Notre Dame Stadium. The Fighting Irish will try to send 31 players out with a win over Wake Forest. A 3:30 kickoff right here. 3:30 kickoff right here on campus. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff, live on the campus of Notre Dame as we count you down to today's matchup. What a beautiful day for football.
Absolutely. Let's find out what the weather's going to be like for this one. Are you going to need a jacket? I'd say yes.
Yeah.
You definitely are coming into this game. ABC 57 meteorologist Emmett Toomey joins us now live with a check on your game day forecast. Hey, Emmett.
Hey, good morning, Allison, Vahid. It is looking great outside so far. Plenty of sun, fair weather as well. It's not often we get this kind of weather, so let's take a look at the last 30 years of senior day games here at South Bend. You'll see games under 50 degrees. We've had 17 games under 50 degrees. That's about 70% of all senior day games. And when we think of senior day, it's late November. It's usually a little bit snowy. It's usually a little bit cold. Feels like temperatures down in the 20s and 10s, but today, regardless of the frost we saw in the morning, it is shaping up. Not a cloud in the sky. High pressure building off to the west as well. It means we're going to have clear skies the rest of the day and more warm air wrapping into South Bend. Now, take a look at these feels like temperatures for the rest of the day. Keep in mind, wind speeds are at 5 to 10 miles per hour. We're going to be peaking around game time at 3 o'clock to 7 with wind gusts upwards of 20 to 25 miles an hour. That's going to make our temperatures feel a little bit cooler than what they actually are. But this is not stopping the tailgaters around here, and temperatures are only going to be going up as we go into the next half of the day. And temperature-wise for Notre Dame games on senior day, it's not often you see weather like this. Tailgaters are out and about. We had a little bit of frost this morning, but regardless, you're going to be needing your jacket for the first half of the day. You're going to be able to ditch it the second half. I recommend a blanket, though. Once you get into the stadium, those bleachers can get a little bit chilly as we get on campus here. But regardless, enjoy the sun. It's not often we get this weather this fair and mild going into the back half of November for Notre Dame football. And hopefully the Fighting Irish can use it to their advantage and take down Wake Forest. Reporting live from South Bend on Notre Dame's campus, I'm meteorologist Emmett Toomey for ABC 57 News.
Well, it definitely looks like you're going to need your sunglasses when you're on campus today, too. And remember last year, the last home game, it was the blizzard game. It was amazing.
Listen, we've been doing this for 7 years. Blizzards, minus 10 degrees. Expect anything, but today is beautiful.
That's right.
Beautiful. He grew up in the shadow of the Golden Dome, and his father was even a professor at Notre Dame.
Coming up, how a local artist is relying on faith, family, and his Notre Dame roots to create pieces now on display all over the world. Well, the stadium lots are filling up with fans as the 19th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish welcome Wake Forest for the final home game of the 2023 season. Look at that grill is going.
Go.
Oh, yeah. Give me some of that. Sam Hartman
it.
hoping to get the Irish back in the win column this afternoon against his old team. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. A South Bend artist is creating beautiful sculptures all across the country and even the world, including right here at the University of Notre Dame.
And his connection to the university runs deeper than just his artwork on campus. ABC 57's Naja Woods introduces us to the man behind the masterpieces.
Andrew Smith came back to his Michiana roots a few years ago. His late father was a longtime professor here at Notre Dame School of Architecture. There's even a piece of his work proudly on display. And now Smith is carving his own path. But his late father, his Catholic faith, and Notre Dame are never too far from his mind.
The concentrated chipping of chisel on clay joins the piercing sound of a saw on granite. to fill a South Bend sculpture studio with dust. But beyond the dust is something much greater, carefully crafted not just in days or even months, but in years.
Any sort of sculptural project, you're often generating first a clay model, usually on a small scale, and then probably on the full-size scale. There's always multiple stages in the project.
Andrew Smith grew up in South Bend and recently moved back to the area with his family. He's behind several life-size sculptures on display all across the country.
I think that one early project that was kind of my magnum opus at the time was an opportunity to carve the 12 apostles and a pair of sort of highly decorated capitals for a monastery in Clear Creek, Oklahoma.
Smith is just a handful of artists nationwide pursuing architectural sculpture as his primary medium, much of which is centered around religion.
A lot of my work revolves around the Catholic Church and sacred art, especially going back to that monastery project and many of the other projects that followed somewhat as a result of that.
His work inspired by his own Catholic faith.
So I am predominantly engaged in works for either universities in the Catholic tradition or Catholic churches.
And his late father, Thomas Gordon Smith, a longtime professor at the Notre Dame School of Architecture.
He was an artist as well as an architect, and he really was a leader in the sort of classical revival movement. And so I had a lot of opportunities in a very artistic household growing up.
The classical program was founded in about, I think, 1989 by Thomas Gordon Smith, and following very much in the sort of in the line of his father before him, pursuing an art form that really people respond to, because he sculpts familiar figures and familiar scenes and architectural elements.
Gordon Smith passing down his own love of art and connection to Notre Dame to his son. In 2021, Andrew was selected to create a memorial plaque to honor Michael Duda, a late Notre Dame alum whose family helped establish the recently built Michael Christopher Duda Center, dedicated to historic preservation at the School of Architecture.
I firmly believe it was the right decision. First of all, because of the talent that Andrew has in his field, and also because of this connection that he already had with the school.
As a kid, grew up kind of haunting my dad's office a little bit, so it's great to reconnect with the school here in this capacity.
Andrew included some of the principles taught at the school on that dedication plaque.
His sculpture uses both traditional techniques and technology, because parts of it were assisted by 3D modeling. So it's a prime example, like the building that I'm sitting in here at the moment, of this use of both traditional knowledge and contemporary abilities.
The location of the artwork also has a special meaning.
And so when you go to Walsh Hall, on the outside is a very large statue of Alberti that Stoddart created a few years ago. And then on the interior are at least one portrait that he was commissioned to do for the School of Architecture. So on that level as well, it's a great honor to have my work in that setting.
Right now, Smith and his assistant are working on carving 8-foot angel statues of St. Michael and St. Gabriel. If you want to know more about his work, his South Bend studio, or Notre Dame School of Architecture, just head to our website, ABC57.com. Reporting from the University of Notre Dame, I'm Nadja Woods, ABC 57 Kickoff.
Awesome story, Nadja. Thanks so much. Speaking of art, a statue of former women's basketball coach Muffet McGraw will be unveiled next month outside the entrance, just a few steps away from where we are here at Purcell Pavilion.
The statue dedication and blessing will be on Sunday, December 17th at 10:45 a.m. before the Notre Dame women's basketball game against Purdue. In her 33 seasons as head coach, McGraw led the Irish to 9 Final Fours, 7 championship games, and 2 national championships. And she was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame back in 2017. The Irish go. It is about darn time, like Lizzo says, right?
Well, didn't we talk about this like 6 or 7 years ago? There's going to be a statue of Muffet. When is that going to happen?
Yes.
I'm glad it's happening now. Well deserved. Good for her. She deserves
She takes
that.
her place out there permanently outside of Purcell, and just couldn't be more proud of that for her and for the university.
Absolutely. More than 30 players today will be honored before the game. But for some, it may not be the last time they run out of the tunnel at Notre Dame Stadium. The big name still undecided when we come back.
I just didn't execute well enough. So if you want to, mention people on Twitter, you want to blame OCs, you want to blame Coach Freeman, blame me. I'm big enough and man enough to admit that I didn't play up to the standard that this team deserves, this fan base, this university deserves.
One or two plays that we wish we had back, but now we got a new opportunity this upcoming week, which is Wake Forest, to make up for those mistakes that we had last week.
Well, 19th ranked Notre Dame looking to bounce back from that tough road loss.
Oh, yeah, they're partying. They're ready to go.
Last week, hosting Wake Forest today at 3:30, and the tailgates are already jumping. Yeah, let's go. Today marks the 500th game inside Notre Dame Stadium. It is also Senior Day. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff Live inside Purcell Pavilion on the campus of Notre Dame. I'm Vahid Sadrzadeh.
And I'm Allison Hayes. The Irish will honor 31 seniors before today's game, but that doesn't necessarily mean this is their last time playing inside Notre Dame Stadium. Most actually have the chance to come back after redshirting a season or gaining that extra year of eligibility from the COVID-19 pandemic.
ABC 57's Levon Whitaker joins us live once again. Levon, you had a chance to talk with players this week about what today's game means to them.
Yeah, guys, 31 players. That's a lot of what this last game means to them here at Notre Dame Stadium. But for one guy, we know it's Sam Hartman. This is his last game for sure at Notre Dame Stadium. He's been in college for 6 years now. He's 24 years old. But we are still kind of unsure about a few guys like offensive lineman Joe Alt and Audric Estime, running back, two of the best at their positions and now eligible to enter the NFL draft next year.
They don't know if this is their last game or not. You should run out there on senior day. That doesn't mean they don't have the option to come back next year.
Others still undecided are captains J.D. Bertrand and Cam Hart. But as of now, they're going through the motions as if today's game is their last walk out of Notre Dame Stadium.
It's emotional. It's going to be a sad time leaving, but it'll be fun as well.
For me, I'm trying to push off those feelings and not think about it too much until it comes.
But when that time comes, both veterans standing on business regardless of how special this game is.
The biggest thing is we're playing a really good opponent. We're playing a team that's battling for bowl eligibility.
And it's only one way to prepare for senior day against an opponent that needs 2 more wins to become eligible for a bowl game.
The way we honor them is by the way we prepare and by the way we practice, not necessarily just patting them on the back on Saturday.
Not to mention the additional inspiration of getting Sam Hartman a win over Wake Forest, the team he spent 5 years with as the quarterback and set the record for the most touchdown passes in the ACC before transferring to Notre Dame.
It's a special one for him. We all know, he's been in college for a couple of years, so this is his last and final game, and it's a great opportunity to go out against a team that he's been playing for 5 years. So I'm happy for him. I'm excited for him. And great opportunity for the whole team as a whole, and especially the seniors. We got to finish strong for them.
Well, no doubt that Sam Hartman wants to earn a win against his former team today, but I want to focus on Audric Estime. I asked him, hey, man, are you coming back this year? We want to know if you're going to be in a Notre Dame jersey for another year, a 4th year. He would not allude. He wouldn't even answer that question, didn't even recognize or acknowledge the fact that I asked that question. But we all want to know if he'll be back. We want to know the same thing for one of the guys that blocks for him when he's rushing for so many yards. That's Joe Alt, one of the best offensive linemen in the country. He is a finalist for that award for all offensive linemen in the country right now currently playing. And then Audric Estime is top 20 in rushing yards in the country for all running backs. He's just shy, about 20 yards shy of 1,000 rushing yards this season. So, listen, we got a lot of fillers out there to find out if these two players will be back playing in a Notre Dame jersey under head coach Marcus Freeman next season, because they are eligible to enter the NFL draft in April of next year. Allison Vahid, back to you.
Yeah, great job, Levon. And just, again, all but 4 of the seniors that are being recognized today, of that 31, all but 4 of them actually have the opportunity to come back if they choose to. So it'll be something definitely that we are all keeping an eye on. Thanks a lot, Levon. Well, the Irish are going to wrap up the season and next week at Stanford, but just a heads up, that game is actually going to be played only exclusively on the Pac-12 network. And a lot of streaming subscriptions and cable subscriptions do not offer the Pac-12 network. And so, needless to say, fans are a little bit frustrated. And that's why we wanted to check in and find out what are people's thoughts and where you're going to watch the game.
Pretty disappointing that a game like that, a series like that's not on any major network at all.
I haven't checked. I think I still have it on my Comcast network, but in any case, I was disappointed that's where it ended up.
Fans are also taking to social media to express their frustrations, but some restaurants in the area will have the game and are ready to welcome Irish faithful in droves.
This is a place you go to have fun and feel that home game energy, even when it's a away game. So people come here, we get nice and full, and we do have drink specials every Saturday.
This isn't the first game that we've had where not a lot of other places are showing it, so within that, we kind of get ready for a watch party to go on here with different chairs, setups, and making sure our menus is all in order and having fun here.
Well, shout out to our Maura Johnson for putting that together. And I know we had to check at our house to see if we even have the Pac-12 network, and we don't. So we'll be trying to find a spot to watch that from as well. A lot of places, just a reminder, Pac-12 network, that game is at 7 o'clock South Bend time. A lot of places that I called didn't even realize until I made that phone call that they didn't have the Pac-12 network for their bar or restaurant. So definitely something I think a lot of them were like, oh, wow, thanks for giving me the heads up on that. So I think as we continue to get closer to the game, more of the local establishments will have that. But for right now, the ones we do know, the Linebacker, O'Rourke's, and Jay's Lounge in Niles. Well, we still have much more to come here. Fans coming to campus today can get an up-close look at the Senior PGA Championship Trophy. The tournament returns to Harbor Shores Golf Course in May. How you can get tickets or even volunteer. Next.
Hey, good morning, everybody. We are live here at the tailgate right outside Notre Dame Stadium. Beautiful weather across the board right now, and the tailgaters are out and about right next to one of the older tailgates in the lot, and we got the entire family behind me here. Everybody's really proud to be here for the Irish and against Wake Forest. Now, let's take a look at the forecast. Plenty of sun in the sky right now, and compare this Senior Day game to the last. Take a look at this graphic. This is from 2022 when Notre Dame played Boston College on November 19th, 2022. The conditions, 26 with plenty of wind and snow, over 4 inches of snow accumulation during that game. Now, not a drop of snow, not a drop of water either. As we take a look at temperatures for the rest of the day, we're going to be peaking all the way into the low 50s. Plenty of sun as well. You're going to be a little bit chilly as you go into the later hours of the stadium. Keep in mind, those benches are a little bit cold, so I plan on having a blanket. But if you're out at the tailgate lots right now or haven't already, make your way out here. The weather is warm. The fryers are on. Food is being indulged, and we are living it out here right now. But for now, I'm Emmett Toomey, reporting live from ABC Kickoff for ABC Kickoff News.
All right, thanks so much. And we are outside here joined. We have a special treat for you this morning. The Senior PGA Tournament, another major returns to Benton Harbor and Harbor Shores Golf Club this spring. It is May 23rd through the 26th, and we're joined now by Tournament Director Brandon Haney. Also, I got to mention, a fellow Wisconsinite, grew up near Madison too, so I'm not going to say go Badgers, but welcome to Notre Dame.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Awesome. We're excited about this tournament to return here. I know every 2 years it returns to Harbor Shores. Let's talk a little bit about the play itself. Steve Stricker is the returning champion. You said he's never played Harbor Shores before because last year was in Frisco, Texas. So talk about who you expect to play and maybe some of the contenders.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have Steve as our defending champion. He won in a thriller last year down at PGA Frisco, beat Podrick Harrington in a playoff, which is great. But we'll have guys like Steve, Podrick back, Stuart Sink, Bernard Longer, Colin Montgomery. The list goes on and on. The type of golf we get is just fantastic.
Well, and they love this golf course. I mean, this golf course is set up perfectly for the Senior PGA Championship. Talk a little bit about the course setup and why the PGA comes back here year after year.
Yeah, it's a very challenging golf course, but now it'll be our 6th time returning. So the guys that have been on the PGA Tour Champions for a few years now have really come to love the golf course. It's Jack Nicklaus signature course, the only Jack Nicklaus signature course on Lake Michigan. Fantastic golf course. The conditions are fantastic due to the team up there at Harbor Shores. Matt Vollrath always has it in superb conditions, and the players have really learned to love it.
Talk about this beauty right next to you without hitting it and knocking it over. Yeah. But talk a little bit about the inception of this trophy and how it's made.
Yeah, this is the Alfred S. Bourne Trophy. This actually dates back all the way to 1937 to Augusta National, where the Senior PGA Championship first started. So a lot of history and a lot of fantastic names on this trophy.
Name some of the names on there, can you?
We got guys like Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, all the way up to the recent champions of Colin Montgomery and Steve Stricker. So it's a who's who on here.
Well, and this golf course is so vital for this area and, of course, Benton Harbor. Talk about tickets, when they go on sale, and how can people get involved?
Yeah, I mean, the community has really welcomed us to Southwest Michigan. We're a fantastic opportunity to come out and enjoy the community. We have volunteer opportunities still remaining, so anybody who wants to come be a part of a major championship, visit srpga.com. And then tickets go on sale on Monday. So we have flex tickets, flex 4-packs, our Makers Trail 19th hole, which is an upgraded venue that sells only local beer, wine, and spirits, which is a great opportunity. And then our Champions Club ticket for anyone who's looking for that upgraded hospitality opportunity.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brandon. And, Steve Stricker's from the Madison area as well, so maybe it was meant to be again this year. We don't know.
Yes, yeah, we're looking forward to hosting Steve here in Michigan.
Awesome. May 23rd through the 26th. You can find more information at ABC57.com. We will be right back here on ABC 57 Kickoff.
A chilly fall morning on the campus of Notre Dame, but look at that. The grills are going, the tailgates are in full swing as the Irish get ready to take on ACC foe Wake Forest in the final home game of the season. Notre Dame, a nearly 4-touchdown favorite today over the Demon Deacons. Well, we all have our favorite memories of Notre Dame football, of course, but for a group of first responders from New York, the last home game against Pitt will hold a special place in their hearts. As ABC 57's Kevin Wormhold shows us, they had the chance to honor their friend, a lifelong Notre Dame fan who paid the ultimate sacrifice in the September 11th terrorist attacks.
A little over 23 years ago, several first responders from New York came to Notre Dame and watched the Irish pull out a win with a last-second field goal. Less than a year later, a member of that group died in the attacks on the World Trade Center. Now, one man has taken that tragedy and decided to ensure that his friend's sacrifice would never be forgotten. In the final seconds of the Notre Dame versus Purdue game back in 2000, a last-second field goal sealed the victory for the Irish. Fans stormed the field, including a group of 30 New York firefighters and police officers in town for a bachelor party.
One of our guys in our group, our ringleader, spotted something, made a beeline towards it.
One of the firefighters even picked up the Notre Dame leprechaun, Mike Brown, and carried him off the field.
Emerged from the tunnel with the Notre Dame leprechaun on his shoulders.
And they snapped this photo.
His name was Jimmy Ritchie's.
Frankie Keogh describes it as the most iconic picture of their lives.
1 short year later, Jimmy died in the attacks on 9/11.
Jimmy Ritchie's was one of the 343 New York firefighters who died while saving the lives of thousands. Keogh wanted to keep his friend's memory alive and give back to those who served and lost their lives in the line of duty.
We started running a memorial trip in his name. It's called the Leprechaun Memorial.
That memorial would turn into something bigger.
I established a mission-based business, Tribal Events, where we cater to heroes. We bring cops, firemen, military, family, friends, and we host events for them.
And now, he's back at Notre Dame, partnering up with the organization Tunnel to Towers. Anthony Lacaraza is another friend of Jimmy's. He's been in law enforcement for 27 years and now sits on the executive board for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
This foundation is based on never forgetting those who serve and the families that are left behind in case they played the ultimate sacrifice. So coming here has a lot of meaning for me.
Both Keogh and Lacaraza came back to Notre Dame last month with friends, family, and fellow first responders to raise money for Tunnel to Towers and celebrate the legacy of their friend, Jimmy Ritchie's.
May God bless Jimmy Ritchie's. May God bless Johnny Malloy. This is for you, boys.
After the special tailgate, they walked into Notre Dame Stadium and watched the Irish beat Pitt 58-7. A victory for the New York crew visiting the house that Rockne built once again, just as it was 23 years ago when that iconic photo was taken. Reporting from the campus of Notre Dame, Kevin Wormhold, ABC57 Kickoff.
Well, if you would like more information on tribal events and the Tunnel to Towers organization, you can go to our website at abc57.com.
Well, he's been called one of the greatest ball hawks at Notre Dame. Former Irish and NFL defensive back Bobby Taylor joins us on set live next.
Well, the Irish are getting ready for their final home game of the season, taking on Wake Forest. Right now, safety Xavier Watts leads the country with 7 interceptions, including 5 in the last 3 games. Will he make it 4 in a row today? I don't know. Maybe, hey, hot dogs and brats.
I'm about to go back
right?
outside. It was starting to heat up out there. It's a very, very nice day for football.
Well, we are now joined by former Notre Dame cornerback and safety Bobby Taylor. Let's remind viewers just how good this guy was, Vahid.
All right, bear with me here for just a second. You were a consensus All-American in 1994, finishing your career at Notre Dame with 134 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 23 pass breakups. You were a second-round pick by the Philadelphia Eagles, 10 NFL seasons, 384 tackles, 19 interceptions, 6 forced fumbles, 11 fumble recoveries, and you were a Pro Bowler in 2002. Not too bad, my friend. Not too bad at all.
I'm like, can you say that again? One more time, please.
We'll put those in a nice little package for you and send them to you.
All right.
And, oh, by the way, our good friend Reggie Brooks, who hooked us up for this today, he called you the ball hawks of all ball hawking DBs at Notre Dame. I love that. Take us back a little bit of just your time here at Notre Dame back in the early 90s and really and even playing with Reggie on the other side.
Yeah, well, Reggie's my guy. He's kind of like the godfather. And so coming to Notre Dame, it was an awesome experience, a big family environment. Coach Holtz, I was able to play for him, and there's so many life skills that he taught us during the time while I was here that I still use today. I'm raising my 3 boys, and so, I mean, it's just such a memorable time. I don't get up here enough. This is actually my second time this season. I was here for the Tennessee State game as well, but anytime I come back here, I mean, it feels like home.
Well, it's so good to have you back. Let's fast forward, talk about this Irish team now. It's been a season of ups and downs, but the defense really has been steadfast. It's been a steadying force for them, most of it coming from the back end of that defense, which you're familiar with. We just talked about Xavier Watts, Benjamin Morrison, Cam Hart. Talk about the defense in the second year for Al Golden, what grade you would give that defense.
You know, I wouldn't necessarily give a grade. I just feel like those guys have been steady. Of course, there's probably some plays and calls the players would like back, and I'm pretty sure Coach as well. You know, congratulations to him. I saw he was on the Broyles list for top assistants in the country. And, you know, hopefully there's not anyone trying to pluck him away from our coaching staff.
Well,
but that's the good and bad as far as when you come to Notre Dame.
Yeah, and talking about that, there is a good possibility that Al Golden and defensive backs coach Mike Mickens could leave, could get picked off by someone else, or make that transition even to the NFL. What do you see the future of this defense going, the direction that it's heading?
Well, I just feel like as long as we have a head coach like Marcus, we'll be okay. And, there are a lot of great coaches out there. And, I can remember my time here, I had 2 different defensive coordinators, 3 different defensive back coaches. And so that's something that Coach Holtz told us about. But when you have a great leader at the helm, you'll always be okay.
So adapting is not a problem to that year after year, even if you do get a new coach.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's something that comes with the territory. Just like, we have good players that sometimes decide to leave and go to the draft early. And so when you're Notre Dame, there's probably a laundry list of guys that would love to come here right now.
That's right. Well, talk about some of these players that are leaving, suiting up for Notre Dame for the final time, wearing that gold helmet, and realizing, whatever it's been, 3-4 years with this team. What is it like running out of that tunnel for the last time?
You know what? It's tough. I didn't get to go through that because I left as a junior, but I can just imagine the emotions. You're probably seeing your family and, your players that you're around, the coaches, you spend more time with them than you actually do with your family. And so it's kind of bittersweet, but it's a big celebration. The weather is great here. I feel like I brought some sun from Texas with me.
You did.
And I'm just going to enjoy it.
You brought that accent from Texas with you, too. I love it. And speaking of Texas, you have a son with the same name, Bobby Taylor. And actually, we could be looking forward to a pretty good matchup next season, Notre Dame
and Texas A&M. Yeah, so my oldest son, Bobby Taylor, he's there as well. And, I'm looking forward to that game next year. Of course, I'll be rooting for the Irish. I hope he does well, but I'll be rooting for the Irish during that time.
Does your son Bobby play defense also?
Yes, he plays defensive back as well.
Oh, okay.
So the 12th man, talk about how tough it is to go in there and play at Texas A&M.
Oh, for sure. They're already talking about it right now. I was just up there a couple of weeks ago and just seeing some of the guys that I know and, some of their supporters. So they've already marked that date on their calendar.
I want to give a shout out real quick. I was telling people that you were coming on the show, and I told my brother-in-law, and I said, do you guys remember a guy named Bobby Taylor? He's like, 21? I remember him. So you, a great player here at Notre Dame. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it.
Well, it's not every day college football teams get to face off against their former quarterback.
We'll hear from Wake Forest head coach Dave Clawson next, plus an Irish injury report.
Fight, 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 fight. Sacrifice, unselfish sacrifice. We're going to get them on a run. We're going to go, go, go. And we aren't going to stop until we go that goal line. We are Notre Dame.
Get on the bus. Next stop, Notre Dame Stadium.
From the house that Rackney built to the dynasty of Air Parsegian, this is the home of Fighting Irish football.
The place where greatness is earned 1 yard at a time. The field that forged Notre Dame legends like Theismann, Montana, and Brown.
The land of never quit, never surrender. The legacy, the passion, the tradition. That is Notre Dame football.
ABC57 Kickoff is back.
Bigger and better
than ever. Another season of Fighting Irish football. It all starts here.
This is our house. This is our team.
This is ABC 57 Kickoff.
You're watching ABC 57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
It's a game that's been circled on the schedule for Notre Dame quarterback Sam Hartman. A reunion with his former team. The Irish take on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest today in a 3:30 showdown inside Notre Dame Stadium. Look at that beautiful setup there. We're almost to Thanksgiving. Can you believe it?
It is the season of giving thanks, and I will say we got to give thanks to Sam Hartman for stopping by Notre Dame this year. I was just saying we didn't get enough time with Sam.
Yeah.
But hey, he can send us out the right way with a win over his former team.
That's right. One season, we'll be happy to have that one.
That's right. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff live from Purcell Pavilion. On the campus of Notre Dame, I'm Vahid Sadrzadeh.
And I'm Allison Hayes.
It is a gorgeous day for football, but of course the matchup is why we're here. Today is the final Notre Dame home game for Sam Hartman. It's been an up-and-down season for the Irish quarterback. He started the year on fire. 71% of his passes completed, 265 yards a game, 13 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions.
But in the last 6 games, he's completed only 58% of his throws for 201 yards per game, 5 scores, and 7 picks. Today, he has the challenge of playing his former team. He spent 5 years at Wake Forest, and Coach Dave Clawson admitted this week it's hard for him to see Hartman in an Irish uniform.
I think the world of Sam. Quite honestly, it's hard for me to watch Notre Dame football. Because that's the Wake Forest quarterback playing for them. He spent 5 years here and did a lot for our program. We're still close. It'll be a little awkward pregame, but postgame I'll give him a big hug and let him know how much we care about him. And I tell him I root for him every game except one this year, and this is the one.
Well, to say Wake Forest has struggled after the departure of Sam Hartman is really the understatement of the year. The Demon Deacons have only been averaging 15 points a game since mid-September, and last week they had their worst offensive output of the season with only 163 yards of total offense.
And, of course, making a quarterback change. The new quarterback will be making his first start here today against the Irish. That defense is going to be coming
Yeah, boy,
for him.
that's tough to start your first game here at Notre Dame Stadium. The Irish are a little banged up, though, today. The latest Irish injury report, right guard Rocco Spindler out for the season after injuring his knee against Clemson.
Several other players are questionable, including starting center Zeke Correll, who's in concussion protocol. All sides leading to him probably not playing in this game. And backup center Andrew Kristofic is injured his ankle against Clemson. And wide receivers Jaden Thomas and Deion Colsey are also still questionable. Thomas has been dealing with a strained hamstring. Colsey, a knee injury.
Well, Zeke Correll being out, that's a huge loss for the Irish. And Jaden Thomas and Deion Colsey, I just feel like we never really got a chance to see them in full stride this season at all.
Yeah, that's right. Billy Schroth, of course, is set to start at right guard in Rocco Spindler's place. Center Ashton Craig, who saw some action against Clemson when Kristofic was hurt, could also get the start today. Craig and Schroth combine for 13 snaps this season. The players they're replacing have totaled 137 snaps this season. The players that they are replacing combined for 1,117 snaps. So
still a huge
difference. A little bit more than 17,
right.
But still a big difference there to make up for.
Send a volley cheer on high. The Notre Dame Victory March is officially the greatest fight song in all of college football. And the assistant director of Notre Dame Band says he has mathematical proof. That's coming up next.
The final home game here at Notre Dame Stadium. The Irish have won their last 2 Senior Day games by a combined score of 99-0. They're going to have fans cheering just like these guys right out in the tailgates right now, expecting to get that job done once again today against Wake Forest. Well, in just a few short hours, the Notre Dame Marching Band will come out of the tunnel at Notre Dame Stadium for the final time this season.
And it's always goosebumps when they do. And just like they did over 115 years ago, and seemingly every game since, they will line up in formation and play the most iconic of all university fight songs.
It's the greatest of all fight songs. The Notre Dame Victory March was originally written in 1908 by John and Michael Shea, who were 2 graduates of the University of Notre Dame.
Assistant Director of Bands Larry Dwyer teaches a class called Intro to Jazz at the university that touches on the history and the importance of the song. Influenced by the ragtime music of the era, Notre Dame's fight song was first performed on Easter Sunday in 1909 in front of what is known today as the Golden Dome. 10 years later, the band then played it at an athletic event.
The original version was da 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 da. It was just kind of another song. They thought it was kind of an amateur attempt, and they hoped that someone would improve it. Right here, this is Joseph Casasanta.
And that someone was Notre Dame graduate and director of bands Joe Casasanta. In October of 1923, he followed up on the hopes the Shea brothers had set forth.
He rewrote the Victory March in that year. Just tweaked a few things, but made it a lot better, created a great band arrangement that we still play today.
That exact arrangement has stood the test of time. Now in its 100th year, the Irish have proudly played it all over the world, including Sydney, Australia, Tokyo, Japan, and even at the Olympics in 2012 in London.
Well, there's numbers to support, Larry, why it is the greatest fight song in history.
I decided to do a mathematical analysis of the Victory March, and I picked 3 quantifiable characteristics.
Dwyer says the 3 categories that make the song so unique include pitches, the number of chromatic notes, and the use of syncopation. In all, giving it a score of 21, and the honor of top-ranking fight song in the nation.
So when JT yells out,
and plays the greatest of all university fight songs, the Notre Dame Victory March.
the greatest of all university fight songs, and I can't do it like he does.
Yeah.
He is 100% accurate.
Absolutely accurate. And we have the mathematical, incontrovertible proof about that.
Dwyer might be a bit biased, and rightfully so. After all, he was a student, sitting in these seats and a marching band member in the mid-'60s, playing first trombone. Coming back 23 years ago to teach was an easy decision.
I was excited to see that the students themselves still have that same spirit, that same drive, and love to play the song, along with all the other music that we play.
500 games in Notre Dame Stadium, 370 members strong, 115 years of tradition. Only one song that is the greatest of all university fight songs.
Go Irish!
Go Irish indeed. Now, one aspect of the Notre Dame marching band that's easy to overlook as fans, and of course I did before doing this story, is just how perfect their formations are and how precisely and quickly each band member moves to their spot. Take a look here. Here's an example of that chart that Larry shared with us that shows where each band member should be lining up during the song. They only have a few beats to get from one side of the field to another to their spot. And the crazy part is, Allison, that it's only a handful of charts each week the students have to learn. So, like, this is one of 17 charts. Larry invited me to their practice field Monday night, and even though the bowl game hasn't been announced yet, the band's already starting to work on their charts for that game.
Let's go. I love that. I'm glad they're going to be going to the bowl game, by the way. I wish they could go to every single away game, but just they're so good. And Larry's so great in the job that he does with that program and everyone associated with the band.
You don't want to take it for granted, but every time they walk onto that field, you just get chills. And it is a Notre Dame. It's not a Notre Dame football game without the band.
That's right. Well, moving forward, their son is a two-time captain and a finalist for the Academic Heisman, and today may be his final home game in a Notre Dame uniform. J.D. Bertrand's parents.
Jim and Christine Bertrand, they're right here, and they join us live next.
Well, welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. You know, Senior Day is not just special for those 31 players that will be recognized on the field today at Notre Dame Stadium. It's also really special for the families of those players. Joining us right now, of course, J.D. Bertrand, a two-time captain, and just Mr. Everything. And he's like Superman here at Notre Dame. His parents, Jim and Christine Bertrand. First of all, welcome. I know this is a very, very busy day for you guys, and you were able to squeeze us in and give us your time for a few minutes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Well, tell us who you brought with you. You've got a few people here.
Let me tell you, I have obviously my wife Christine, I'm Jim, and then I've got Maddie Benson, JD's girlfriend. All right, Samantha Benson, her mom, a good friend of ours, and another friend from Ireland who's going to school, law school here, Hughie McNeil.
I love that. What is today like for you guys? I know you had to meet a bunch of family and friends, and then you've got so many things going on.
There's a lot going on today. We're excited. I mean, we're nervous. Obviously, we want JD to play well, be healthy, and at the same time, the memories of Notre Dame have been fantastic.
Well, walk us through the day, right? What is it like for you? It's going to be emotional, obviously, when you walk onto that field for the final time possibly with him. What is the day like? Walk us through what you're going to do after you get done here today.
You want to take that?
Well, I think we're going to show our family and friends around and see the university. I'm expecting JD's great aunt shortly, and her 2 sons are driving her in from Ohio. So we'll show them the university and some of our favorite spots and take some pictures.
What are your favorite spots on campus? I have to ask.
Touchdown Jesus.
The grotto.
The grotto, absolutely. And the beautiful new sculpture that's across from there on the lake. And Basilica, of course.
It's going to be a good day.
I imagine just his career has been incredible, just since he was, a little guy, following him all the way up until now. And of course, to start the season off, we did a special story with you about the opportunity for JD to play in Ireland on the same pitch and field that you won a rugby championship on.
No, it's surreal, right? And at the same time, I sit here and think I have Hugh McNeil, my best friend from Ireland. His son is here going to school at the same time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, but it's fantastic. The connections in Ireland have been really great. We met fantastic people over there, and just enjoy it, right? So,
yeah.
One of the moments that went viral this year was JD getting a call from, the athletic director, Jack Swarbrick, and he's a finalist for that William Campbell Trophy.
Right, yeah.
What was that moment like when he called you sitting in his office and he told you that he was up for that award?
We were actually driving up to Notre Dame for the game that weekend, and we were in the car. We were in Kentucky, somewhere in Kentucky, and we got a call over the phone, and JD's like, Mom and Dad, are you there? I'm like, uh-oh. And I could tell on his voice something was going on, right?
Yeah.
And
were you worried at first?
I was like, what is going on here? And then all of a sudden, JD said, hey, I've got this award. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And Jack got on and said, hey, JD's got this award. We were just like, oh my gosh. We were very happy.
It was cute to see his reaction.
Right.
He looked so nervous, and it's like, of all the guys on the team,
Yeah.
he's not getting called in there to get in trouble for anything.
Yeah, definitely. We were definitely nervous, right? So,
yes.
Definitely.
Well, bear with me on this one. This is going to be a long setup because there's a lot to say, but this isn't your first senior day performance or event to be a part of. You actually have 2 sons that have played sports here at Notre Dame. Your other son, JM, of course, was a pitcher for the Irish in the College World Series just a few years ago. The incredible journey that they've had, and now he was drafted by the San Francisco Giants. He's playing in their minor league system, and while this could be JD's final year, he may have another year, we'll see, but you have to imagine that JD is going to be making that transition to the NFL whenever that day comes. Can you put into words as a parent, I mean, my gosh, to have not 1 but 2 children potentially being professional athletes has to be unbelievable.
It is crazy. I mean, you have hopes and dreams for your children, and maybe Notre Dame's would be out there, but who gets to do that? And the fact that both of them ended up here is such a blessing, and we're extremely grateful.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said earlier, surreal. To have 2 boys maybe doing that eventually, it is. And we're blessed that we've been able to do it, definitely.
So awesome. One of the last times we caught up with JD at the College World Series, that right before the game started, and you had family there, and they had their mustaches, all their fake mustaches on, because of course he had that mustache during the College World Series. Very awesome. Well, you guys enjoy your experience. Thank you all for coming on the show today.
Thank you
and
very
good
much.
luck in the future. We will be thinking about you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
both.
much.
We appreciate it.
Well, talking about bonds between father and son, we have got another really beautiful, touching tribute coming up. Jeremiah Love and his father have a tradition before every game you don't want to miss.
Notre Dame hosting Wake Forest today in the house that Rockne built. The Irish have never lost to the Demon Deacons at Notre Dame Stadium. In fact, they're undefeated against Wake, winning all 5 meetings in this series. Notre Dame relies heavily on their run game, so much so that all 5 running backs have seen the field this season, including freshman Jeremiah Love. Levon Whitaker joins us live here on set. Levon, you had a chance to talk with Jeremiah and his parents.
That's right. Jeremiah Love is a player that lives in tradition. What started as a way to build confidence has quickly transformed the relationship between father and son.
In the moments leading up to the Irish taking the field, Jason Love patiently waits and looks for his son, Jeremiah.
We try to make every game so I can have that moment with him.
It's a moment Jeremiah, a freshman running back at Notre Dame, savors.
We've been doing it since I've been playing football.
Jason gave Jeremiah that opportunity to play football at a young age.
When I look in his eyes now, I still see that 6-year-old kid, and it's just a connection that we have. It's a bond, and I feel his spirit, he feels mine.
Growing up, Jason made sure to be at every game, but because of her long hours at work, his mother, LaTanya, missed out on some key moments.
My service with the police department, my long hours at work, the holidays, birthdays, all those missed times, practices, football games, basketball games, I missed a whole lot.
Jeremiah wrote a letter his freshman year in high school, and for LaTanya, it was an eye-opener.
In his letter, he said that he wished he could spend more time with his mother, and that changed things for me. I just knew how important it was for me to change what I was doing.
Fast forward 4 years later, LaTanya is in the stands, and so is her husband, Jason, looking for his son to carry on the tradition the two have shared since he was a boy.
It started off as just a parent just congratulating his son initially when he was like 6 years old playing pee-wee ball. He didn't have the confidence at first, so I used to take him to the side and say, son, you're great. You're going to do great. You're already a winner. Even you win when you lose, you're still a winner. That's just a ritual we shared, a father and son bond.
My dad just reminds me that, I am me, and just to do the best that I can, really just pumps me up before the game and gets me locked in and ready to play.
It's such a beautiful story, guys. Jeremiah, he has 4 older siblings. I met one of his brothers. They all told me that they look forward to that moment, and so does his mother, LaTanya. She told me that she encourages Jeremiah and his father, Jason, to continue to have that moment until this day as Jeremiah shares this memory with his father and the rest of their family since the age of 6 years old. It's a beautiful story.
I was able to shoot that interview with you, and I'm a sucker, first of all, for the old pictures. When we get to see them as little boys, I absolutely love that. But the thing that stood out to me the most was listening to the interview while you were talking to Jason, and he said, even today, when he looks at Jeremiah's eyes, he still sees that 6-year-old little boy. Ooh, that one got me as a mom, and I'm looking at my own little boys, and you think about them growing up, the level of pride and the love that they feel for him, it was really touching. I love that story.
Yeah, me and Jason talk, his father, me and Jason still talk to this day. We had conversations last night because he happens to be my fraternity brother as well, so we share a very special bond there. But, in every conversation, he's always bringing up how much he loves Jeremiah, how much he enjoys being out here at his games, and the mom, again, she's the general of the family, and she really forces them to make sure they don't miss that moment before every single game.
All right, thanks so much, Levon. There's still so much more to come here on ABC 57 Kickoff. Here's what's ahead in our final half hour.
A season full of highs and lows.
It's easy to put blame on one person, one side of the ball.
Coach Freeman's focus as the Irish get ready for Wake Forest and the final home game of the season. Plus, he scored the game-winning field goal, but then got stopped by security, mistaken for a fan. NFL and former Notre Dame kicker Blake Grupe joins us live. A miracle for a magical season.
I dreamed of it and prayed for it, and it happened.
A local mom wakes up from nearly a 5-year coma to see her son make history on the football field. Plus,
what's going on, Juju and Jennifer? Ian Book here.
A special surprise by former Notre Dame quarterback Ian Book.
With the same rich tradition of the Irish.
Wake up the echoes cheering her name.
Send the volley cheer on high.
Shake down the thunder from the sky.
What though the odds be great or small?
Old Notre Dame will win overall. While her loyal sons and daughters
march on to victory.
It's Tim Brown, Heisman Trophy winner, and you're watching ABC 57 Kickoff.
You're watching ABC 57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, live from the campus of Notre Dame, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
one last tailgate here at Notre Dame as the Irish play their final home game of the season. Notre Dame has won 348 games all time in the month of November and have never lost when they play on November 18th. Will history repeat itself today?
We sure hope so.
I think it will. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. For much of Notre Dame's loss at Clemson, it seemed like Murphy's Law ruled. What could go wrong did in all three phases of the game.
And naturally, fans will point fingers as to who's to blame. And in this week's Freeman's Focus, the Irish head coach goes on defense after a tough loss to the Tigers.
In a season full of highs and lows and lessons learned,
it's easy to put blame on one person, one side of the ball.
Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman may have put it all into perspective.
It's a team game.
Following the crushing loss to Clemson, it's easy to point fingers. A pick six, a muff punt, missed tackles, play calling, execution, coaching.
As you look at the number one, to me, evaluator of team, it's starting field position.
Drive after drive, late in the second half, Notre Dame found itself in the shadow of its own goalpost.
Clemson's starting field position was the -41, and Notre Dame's starting field position was the -23.
With a full 14 days to think about a game plan for Wake Forest, the focus is once again on all three phases, starting with the offense.
We have to find ways to get the ball into the hands of our playmakers, right? And we got to continue to be creative in how we do that. Defensively, continuous emphasis on tackling. We got to continue to tackle at a high level. Special teams, the emphasis this week was on our punt game.
In Notre Dame's 3 losses this season, Audric Estime only racked up 176 rushing yards. Sam Hartman threw a total of 5 interceptions. And the Irish were a combined 11 of 36 on third down conversions.
It's not as simple as calling just a different play. I promise you, it's not like Madden. You call a better play and you're more efficient, but it's within our game plan. How do we make sure our guys are executing no matter what the look is you're seeing defensively, that we can have success?
This season hasn't been about one play or one player. It's been about this team, its potential, and its ability or inability to play to its own standard of football. Saturday on senior night in South Bend, the Irish will have one more opportunity to prove that in front of the home crowd.
We have an opportunity this upcoming week to obviously send these 31 seniors that will play their final game in Notre Dame Stadium out the right way, and that's going to be our motivation.
Talked with several former players and people around this Notre Dame team, and they all said the same thing. This season feels like a missed opportunity, but the Irish hope to salvage what's left and send Sam Hartman and the rest of the crew, the seniors, out the right way today versus Wake Forest.
Well, joining us now, someone who lived that experience, of course, former Notre Dame and current New Orleans Saints kicker Blake Grupe, another first-timer here on the show. Great to have you, Blake. We're so excited to have you here. And, of course, you played just one season here at Notre Dame, but you made 19 field goals and went a perfect 49 for 49 on extra points.
Man, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Well, talk about salvaging the season here for Notre Dame. You were a part of last season that could have crumbled, right? But you came back and you salvaged what was left of that season, and the guys rallying strong. What does Marcus Freeman do for this group, and what does he tell this group in the huddle here as they sit with 3 losses now?
Yeah, when you get at a point like that in the season, you really you fall back on your leadership, and you fall back, whether it's leadership in the coaching positions or that leadership amongst the team. You really fall back on those, and you rely on those players and those coaches to really drive you through those times.
Of course, looking now at this year's team, have you had a chance to talk with Spencer Schrader?
I have.
And what's that conversation like, and what advice maybe do you give him, or really any kicker who's trying to make a name for himself here at Notre Dame?
Yeah, it was awesome when I was still here, preparing for that bowl game, and as the end of the year came on, they knew they were looking to bring in a transfer, and spoke with him a little bit. Was here for his visit. Was able to, any question that he had, to be able to be that guy that came in for that 1-year transfer and to, feel the weight of coming to a school in a program like Notre Dame. You really have to take advantage of every single opportunity and be confident and really just go out there and show what you can do and, don't fear the moment.
Well, you went undrafted but ended up beating out a Saints Pro Bowl kicker to earn that starting job, and so far you've made nearly 80% of your kicks this season. What has that transition been like here from Notre Dame to the NFL?
It's been a very, fast-paced, 1 week at a time, and it's just been an unreal experience to be able to, first of all, come here. That jump from where I was at Arkansas State to now playing at Notre Dame, that jump felt like absolutely just astronomical. And then to come from Notre Dame to the NFL, it did not feel as big of a jump. Coming like I said, a program, as with this size and this reach that we have, and that jump didn't necessarily feel like as big of a gap. And so I felt that much more prepared and that much more confident in myself, knowing that I was able to do it last year and to be able to transition and do it again this year.
Hey, if that's not a recruiting technique
absolutely.
right there, I'll tell you what, making that jump from Arkansas State to Notre Dame was a harder transition than Notre Dame to the NFL.
Yep.
That is a pretty good endorsement. Well, you've made 4 kicks of 50 yards or more so far this season for the Saints, and in the preseason, you actually made a game winner against the defending Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs. But what got most of the attention, not the kick, was your tweet, and we can see that right now. Take us through this tweet and kind of explain to the reaction you got from folks.
Yeah, you can't make that one up. To play my first NFL game, first preseason game against the Chiefs, where I grew up an hour outside of Kansas City and grew up a lifelong Chiefs fan, you throw that on top of everything, makes it that much more special. But to go in, just trying to walk the field pregame and, walking out the tunnel. In their defense, I didn't have my Saints stuff on yet, but I was just walking the field. They chased me down. They tapped me on the shoulder. They came up and asked me, really, what are you doing? And so that was just a little bit of a shock. And I was like, well, I thought I might have a little bit of that, but not this early. And then for the game to shake out how it did, to be able to come in and hit a game winner on my first field goal against that team, in that situation, you can't ask for much better experience and opportunity to go out there and do that. And then you throw in I'm trying to go find my family. It's my first game in the Superdome. There's a family section, so I'm trying to go in there and find them, and of course I get stopped in again too. So that's just how it goes. You can't make that up. It makes for a good story, and it's kind of funny now. All those security guards, those same security guards for preseason. Yeah,
they know who you are. Yeah, they know who you are now.
And,
you do have a little bit of a baby face. We can say that, right?
Yes, of course. I've heard that many times, and I know it. So it's been nice to just even now build relationships with those same security guards. So it's been a fun deal.
Well, we certainly appreciate having you on the show, and please come back anytime. I don't know if any of us can beat you in a field goal competition, but hey, it would be fun to get a pointer or two from 20 yards out.
Love to get out there and try that sometime.
Awesome. Well, we'll be watching you against the Atlanta Falcons next week. Thanks so much, Blake.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, and moving on, never give up. The Niles High School football team made history this fall, but for one family, this season has truly been a miracle.
Strength is everything, and I stand by that. My mom stands by that. My grandma, everybody. We're all strong.
Thanks
people.
so much. Can we get a picture?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
What's going on, Juju and Jennifer? Ian Book here. First off, just want to say thanks for supporting me and Notre Dame over the years. I really, really appreciate it.
Dad, I love Ian Book. Book is probably one of my favorite players ever come from Notre Dame. I look up to them. The way he carries himself, he's just such a good quarterback. The things he can do, he was in the Heisman race, all-time leading quarterback at Notre Dame. Just many things that set him apart from the other quarterbacks that went to Notre Dame.
I just wanted to reach out and say I'm thinking about you guys and praying for you. I've been touched by your guys' story in many ways, and it's just an unbelievable story of you guys, never giving up and loving each other. And congratulations on such a great season, Juju. And just keep rooting on the Irish, you guys.
Wow.
How cool is that?
That's amazing. Oh my. To hear that from Ian Book, that means a lot to me. That hits right there in the spot.
Such an awesome moment for Niles High School senior Julian Means-Flewellen. Thanks to former Notre Dame quarterback Ian Book.
Well, all the feels there. The Niles Vikings football team made history this season, winning their first Wolverine Conference championship and their first district title.
But for Juju, a senior and two-time captain, this season was about more than just what happened on the field. It was the first time in his high school career that his mom, Jennifer, was on the sidelines watching him play.
Strength is everything.
Strength, by definition, is the capacity of an object to withstand great force or pressure.
Strength is everything, and I stand by that. My mom stands by that. My grandma, everybody. We're all strong people.
To be strong.
Vikings strong.
It has been a dream year for Niles senior and two-time captain Julian Means-Flewellen. He's had a career season playing both offense and defense with more than 1,100 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns, along with 60 tackles and 4 sacks. But something was missing.
It wasn't quite normal without her there.
Jennifer Flewellen was known for her outgoing personality and infectious laugh.
Watch your face.
Jen was an athlete at Dowagiac High School and loved sports. When her 3 boys were old enough, she signed them up.
When they were real little, she always wanted to put them in sports. She'd say, you know, sports keeps them out of trouble. When they was old enough for rocket football, she'd love that. That was a big deal. Everything revolved around the kids.
September 25th, 2017 was a busy morning for Jennifer, getting Julian and his brothers Dayton and Skylar off to school and hustling to get to work.
And she was on the phone with her husband, and she said, I feel lightheaded. And then the next thing he said, the phone went dead, and she went off the road and hit a pole.
Jennifer crashed on Chicago Road in Niles. She wasn't breathing when paramedics arrived on the scene.
The paramedics said they usually only try 3 times with the heart compressions, and they tried the 4th time, and they got her back.
But due to a lack of oxygen to her brain, she was induced into a coma.
They told me that I shouldn't keep her like this because if she was to ever wake up, she'd never be able to function.
Jennifer was 35 years old. Her boys, Skylar was 15, Dayton 13, and Julian 11.
Many times that I would be in my room at night and I would just break down crying.
Doctors said Jennifer would never fully wake up, and the family should let her go. But Peggy and her boys refused to say goodbye.
Now, you don't know that. Unless you're the man himself, you know, you don't know what the future is.
For nearly 5 years, Peggy visited her daughter almost every day. Doctors believed Jen would never be aware of what was going on around her.
Actually, for years, I'd hold her hands and I'd say, squeeze my hand, you know, if you could just squeeze my hand. And that never happened.
But then, on August 25th, 2022, Peggy cracked a joke.
That's what he told me.
And for the first time, she got a response.
It was like, boom, something happened. You know, it was like, the day was like any other day before. I wheeled her around. If she opened her eyes, she just glared. But that day I had her outside. I told her that joke, and she just started laughing. It's like the door that had been closed had just opened, and she was back.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Exactly 4 years and 11 months after Jennifer went into a coma, she woke up.
It was crazy. The first time I went to the hospital, she was awake. Just to say, hey, it's Juju, her eyes lit up, and she was just like shook, like, wow, like, it's my Juju beating. It was just super exciting, surreal moment.
But even after she woke up, they thought she would never talk or walk. But once again, Jen defied the odds.
Can you say Juju?
Life is very different now. IVs, doctors. Peggy cares for her daughter around the clock. But her best physical therapy is her boys.
Give me a hug. No, squeeze.
Don't squeeze his head off, though. Squeeze, though.
Yeah.
A lot had changed while Jennifer was asleep. Skylar and Dayton graduated, and she never got to watch either of them play high school football.
About a year ago, I had it in my mind that she was going to come to my games. She was going to come to my senior year, senior night, and things like that. And I talked about it for a while, and I dreamed of it and prayed for it, and it happened.
But Jennifer was there for her youngest son's senior night, and she watched Juju run for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns en route to the Vikings' first conference championship.
Just to have her here and be able to be awoke is just everything. For a while, I thought that it wouldn't happen, but now that it's here, it's just everything that I could have asked for.
Things will never be the same, but Jennifer is back with her family.
Oh, I'm so proud. She is so strong.
And now she's not only a mom, She's also a grandma to Nyla Ann, and they share the same middle name.
There's Nyla. She always wanted a daughter. You know she was going to have a little girl. It was pretty special.
Oh man, that's what it's all about.
It made you happy, Ma?
Just incredible. Joining us now, Juju. We love to have you here. Your story has been incredibly moving to all of us. Yeah. Give us an update. We have some good news to share about your mom.
So my mom just had surgery on her intestines, and she's currently in recovery. It happened yesterday, and yeah.
Everything's going good.
That's
Everything's
awesome.
going good.
Well, I know there's been an outpouring of support from the community, and not just the community, but more than that since the story aired.
Yeah, everybody's been hitting me up, texting me. Even coaches, college coaches know. So many people know about this story, and it's crazy. Yeah.
Well, and talk about people reaching out after the family. We shared your story the first time. The family was hoping to get Jen into Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation Hospital in Grand Rapids, specializing, amongst other things, brain injuries. Well, this week, a friend of ours reached out with connections at Mary Free Bed and got our story shared with them. And your grandma told me that Mary Free Bed has now contacted your family and said that once she is out of the hospital with this recent surgery, that they are going to get her there in Grand Rapids and allow her the opportunity to continue her incredible improvement.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's just going to take her recovery and everything to the next level and fully get her back to normal.
We are so happy.
Yeah, it's incredible. And keep fighting.
Also, we just a little tie-in, with
Yeah.
Notre Dame to have Ian Book.
Yeah.
I know you said he's your favorite player of all time.
He's my favorite player all the time. The things that he can do with the football in his hand is crazy, and I'm just hoping that he finds a team in the NFL soon and continues to shine.
Well, I love that you said that he was inspirational to you during your toughest times there, and he said you are inspirational to him. So you guys keep it up. We're so proud of you, and we'll be rooting for you, hopefully at the next level, too.
Yes, of
All
course,
right.
of course.
Thanks, Juju. Go Irish.
Go Irish.
We're going to be right back here on ABC 57 Kickoff to wrap things up here on Senior Day, including our final predictions.
Look at that Pitt game, and I see a lot of what could happen this weekend against Wake Forest. Wake's offense is bad. It's not Pitt levels of bad, but it's pretty bad. And the number I want to highlight is that on scoring opportunities, drives that should end in points, they are more likely to end in points than not. Wake Forest is averaging 2.6 points per scoring opportunity. That is obviously really bad. It's hard to be below 3. It's hard to be below 4. And they're at 2.6. And that is where I'm looking at this game, and I'm thinking Notre Dame's defense is going to have its day. Notre Dame has thrown shutouts in its last 2 senior days. Marcus Freeman's 2 senior days on Notre Dame's campus. And Notre Dame should be able to take advantage of Wake Forest offense like that. I'm looking at a Wake Forest team total of under 10.5, paying a little bit of a premium for it, but I'm going with that because I just don't see Wake putting together 3 or they might kick only field goals, 4 successful scoring opportunities, given how bad they are at that. And that helps you explain why the total's as low as 46.5. It's just Wake isn't going to carry its part of the load.
Well, listen, we back this week with another parlay and more bets for this Notre Dame versus Wake Forest game. We kind of stumbled at the Clemson game. Shout out to Clemson for ruining everything. I just want to say thank you.
Shout out to Clemson.
They in the giving mood. That's what they did. They gave us something. They allowed us to go home with no money. But I'm like Denzel Washington this week. I'm going to guarantee something for you this week in Levon's parlay in the last home game of the season, baby. Listen. In the Pitt game, I didn't go as strong, and this is the game that reminds me of Pitt as it did for Doug Farmer with the offensive opportunities what Notre Dame can do with the defense as well. So for this parlay, I'm taking Audric Estimate over 96.5 rushing yards, estimate 2 touchdowns because it's estimate time in this game. Notre Dame to cover the first quarter spread of 6.5. Hartman 250.
I'm so glad you're riding the estimate train.
I'm riding. He got to get it. He's standing on business, as Dre said. He got to get his revenge in this one. And I'm taking Notre Dame to cover that spread, 24.5. Right. And of course, what Doug Farmer says, 10.5 under 10.5 for Wake Forest total points in this matchup. We're going to win us some bread. We're going to cash in the last home game.
All right. I know some people have won some money off of you, but I'm going to guess that nobody won anything after Clemson, so you better get them back on the winning track.
The bankroll ain't got no bank in it.
You're not going to see it next year.
Well, we like to have some fun with our own bets, right? And so starting us off, Sam Hartman, what do we think his stats are going to be? He's been up and down. We've been not sure exactly what to expect from him. What are you guys going to say? Start us off, or Levon, what do you think? Passing yards today and touchdowns.
I think Sam Hartman does get you 2 passing touchdowns, and I also think that he can get you 240 passing yards. As I say, I got 250 on a parlay.
I want Hartman's version. You know, like Taylor's version of 1989? I want Hartman's version of 1989. We're going to get the old Sam back today. 3 touchdowns, 265 yards through the air.
I'm right there with you. I think 3 touchdowns. He might even get one on the ground today, too, but definitely at least 225 yards, hopefully more than that. All right, next up, how about Notre Dame's defense? Interceptions, they have been on fire. They've had at least 1 interception in every game since Louisville. What do you guys think today? How many interceptions
I'm
for this
going
team?
with 3 interceptions today. I think Xavier Watts continues the streak. He's going to be a part of that, and I think Benjamin Moore's going to get in there, too. 3 interceptions for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think I said 2 interceptions. I think they get multiple in this game. I don't know if Wake Forest offense, you have a new quarterback at the helm for the Demon Deacons. That doesn't bode well at Notre Dame Stadium, and it's November 18th. You said they don't lose on November 18th.
That's right.
So
They are
I'm going with
undefeated.
that defense.
I am also going with at least 2. I think Xavier Watts gets it done. I'm going to give one to Cam Hart today. It could be his final game here at Notre Dame. Let's get him back in the action as well. Okay, final scores. What are you guys thinking?
Man, I think I'm going to go 41-10 Notre Dame in this game. I'm going to cover that spread, no problem. And again, they got to get revenge.
33-13. I think they win by a couple scores here. I just don't know if Wake Forest is up for this task here, and I think Sam Hartman wants it. He wants this game, and they want it for the seniors. They win by a couple scores.
I got my final score, 38-10, but I'm drinking the Kool-Aid today. We never know what to expect from this team. I say 38-10, but I'm going 41-0. I think the defense gets the shutout. I think they're going to get after that quarterback today.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. Well, hey, it
bold.
has been an absolute pleasure to join you at home here at Notre Dame Stadium this year. Go Irish, guys.
Thank you so much for watching ABC 57 Kickoff. We'll see you during basketball season.